Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Studs Up, a brand new sports podcast linking the worlds of football and horse racing, brought to you by the good people at oddschecker and Sky Bet. Each week I am joined by my Studs Up strike partner Charlie Austin, and we'll be joined in a few moments' time by a special guest. But Charlie, as always, we're going to kick things off by finding out about what has been for you a very successful week. Well done with your 50th goal for QPR. How satisfying was that, mate?
Yeah, hi, mate. Yeah, very satisfying, especially when we won. It was a big win to go to Watford and win 2-1. Tough place to go, especially with the teams around us picking up results over the weekend. So that was a very important game for us on a personal level to achieve that mark and that landstone of getting 50 goals. Get to that milestone is massive for me, and I'm delighted to do it, and it's the first person to do it since Paul Furlong.
Yeah, it's a tremendous achievement from you, so well done, mate. I've got another bone to pick with you. I started off episode 1 by saying to reserve your incredible nuggets of information that you shared with Talk Sport breakfast viewers. Well, this time round I was watching with real admiration after your 50th goal and your man of the match performance, and in your interview you mentioned the Racing Post, but you didn't give any mention to Studs Up. What were you thinking, man?
I don't even know, and it wasn't until I got home. Right, I've gone to the wife. Why have I mentioned them for? Why have I not just said on my podcast, Studs Up, that was out on Friday? Free plug. I can't believe I didn't do that. Missed opportunity, mate.
But you took your opportunity with the goal, so well done with that. Delighted for QPR to get the win and for you to get your 50th goal. You also did a bit of co-coms as well, didn't you, for the Leicester-Fulham game? Are Fulham really bad, I guess, bluntly?
I watched the Fulham-Leicester game yesterday. Leicester were very good first half, but for a team fighting down the bottom, Fulham look very short, and they don't look like they've got that fight and that aggression, that hunger to get themselves out of that situation, because they started very slow first half and Leicester went on to score the first goal, and then just before half time, great team goal by Leicester to pretty much put the game to bed. They showed a little bit of fight in the second half like you'd expect Fulham, but other than that, they weren't good at all.
Right, enough from us, because each week we are joined by a big name. A special guest joins us in the Studs Up dressing room. And I'm delighted to say that we are joined this week by a good friend of mine and Chaz's, and he is a former Liverpool, Stoke, Blackpool, Rangers and currently at Dundee footballer who's a huge horse racing fan. It's a very warm Studs Up welcome to Charlie Adam. Charlie, thank you so much for joining us on Studs Up. I said the same question to Ali when I introduced him last week. Marrying the worlds of football and racing is kind of ideal for you, is it?
Nah, it's brilliant. It's if it's not racing or football, it's probably golf for me. That's the 3 sports for me, and I got into it at a young age and been to some good tracks, and I love watching it. Even if I, just sat on the sofa, I just like watching the racing and being around it. And as they get older, kids get into it as well. My daughter's into it now as well, so that's costing me a few quid every month paying for horse bills.
Does she ride?
Yeah, she rides. Yeah, we just bought her a 4-year-old pony who, and I don't understand it, lead rein or something like that. Now she's off that and she's doing it herself. So she's only 6, and it's cost me a few quid every month. But it's great for her, and it's good for me because I enjoy even mucking out. I enjoy mucking out and then things like that. So it's good for the family as well.
We might have just unveiled on Studs Up the next Holly Doyle in the form of Charlie's daughter. Do your kids get involved in riding or horses, Chaz?
No, mate, no chance. They like going up there feeding them carrots. That's about as much as what they like doing. No way, mate. Don't get me wrong. I'll take the closest thing I've got to the horse, mate. That's in my house. Is like a rocking horse, unicorn. My little man gets on that, goes round the kitchen like that. I sent a picture to the trainer, Richard Allen. I said, I think I've got a new jockey here. He went, tell him to stick to that. He said, tell him to stick to that. Don't come up there.
Keeping yourself busy. Look, you're right. We'll talk about the racing side of things in a few moments' time, but plenty to get through. As always, Charlie and I will have our weekend double. We'll tell you about the Sky Bet offer a little bit later on, and we'll talk about Charlie's love of racing, and already you can see that there's very clearly a big love for the sport. But before that, let's talk about your football career, because that's what you're best known for, Charlie. and you're back in Scotland now with Dundee, which is where it all began for you at Rangers. I know that Chaz has spoken about having a purpose. Was that why you went to Dundee, to get playing football again and to enjoy it again, I suppose?
Listen, Ollie, I understand where my career's at. I was 34, 35 in December there, and it's not going to last forever, is it? You have to go and finish and play where you're happy. I think there was different circumstances really for me. I was probably going to go to Australia. I had an offer to go to Australia at the time on a contract, and obviously the COVID hit. Family couldn't move for 3 months without me, and it just never happened. And obviously this deal to Dundee happened. Mum fell ill, which was another big reason for me to go back home as well, and that made the decision a lot easier for me. I signed there, and yeah, I'm loving playing, and like I say, if I can go and play at my boyhood club, which I supported as a kid, which is even more extra special for me, it was a great opportunity.
Yeah, Charlie, no going back, the enjoyment, and like you say, your mum obviously become a Neil, but going back there for you, going to your boyhood club who you supported, was it good fun going back to the dressing room and represent the team that you wanted to support as a young boy?
Yeah, no, it's huge because playing at the top, like you've played at the top as well at Liverpool. Me playing at Liverpool, and you played in the Premier League for a long time at Southampton and things like that. So it's when you go back, you sort of go back into a dressing room where the younger kids are looking up to you. You're the experienced one. They take everything that you say. They're looking at you. They're taking all your information in, and it's a great learning curve for me as well because it's management and coaching, something I want to get into. I'm getting that opportunity as well at the same time. So it was the right time and the right move for me. And I'd never moved away from home. Blackpool was a base for me that I was at, and we'd never moved any clubs I went to. So it was the first time we'd actually moved as a family, and we're enjoying it. But as you say, we're in the middle of a lockdown again, and there's not really much we can do without, until the lockdown finishes. But on the football side, I've loved every minute of it, and I'm loving playing.
I do agree with what you said there, Charlie. When you go back, the younger lads coming through do hang off every word you say. Look at you, what you're doing in the gym before training, after training, even in training. I had it today where Ilias Chair give away the ball, and his first reaction was a little bit of a freeze. And I just went on a full, Illy, get the ball, full wet, shouted at him. All of a sudden, he's made this 60-yard dart back to chase a man who then makes a mistake to win the ball back. The other lads are looking around thinking, 6 weeks ago, he was never doing that. Do you know what I mean? So if you get after the young lads, all of a sudden they're thinking, right, my standards I've been here, but if he's asking me to be here, I've got to get up to that. I've got to reach them.
Yeah, no, and it's brilliant for me. So the other day we had a midfield meeting. So we played three 20-minute games against each other the other day, and we got 5 or 6 young lads who all sort of play similar position, midfielders and things like that. And obviously I'm the senior one in that group, and one of the younger coaches that we have, Scott Robertson, who I was at school with, he's one of the coaches, and he said to me, I'm having a meeting on Monday afternoon, and I said, oh, okay then. So I went along. 2.5 hours debate we were there. It was brilliant. What the session he put on from where we'd played the game and the mistakes that the young players made, just small difference for them, like body position, the midfielders and getting closed down. And then I was giving my input on, well, why don't you do this and this? And it was a great debate for young kids at 18 to be able to speak up and to have their opinion. And that's the problem now in the dressing room is it doesn't matter what age you are, if it's 18 or 35, you've got an opinion the same as everybody else. And it was good that they embraced it, they enjoyed it, and I loved it and seeing them, trying to take it on board. But I could see them now, when I first joined the football club, I could see them still trying to pass me the ball every time. And I kept saying to them, listen, it's not about me, it's about go and expressing yourself, do your thing that's got you to the first team. It's can you do it on a consistent level now, and it's great to be part and helping them, and it's treat them a different mentality and mindset, really.
You went from Rangers when you started, and you're seeing yourself have been in a meeting 2.5 hours with the midfielders, the youngsters there. When you was at that age and you was at Rangers, was you allowed to speak your mind as such, and was you allowed to voice your opinion, or was it very much at Rangers, right, you're the young lad, earn your stripes as such?
No, it was, like you said, it was about earning your stripes. And the one thing I used to do was when I was training I used to train under 18s, or obviously train with the reserve team at the time sometimes. I would always go to the gym, because at the training complex you can go and watch the first team training. So every day, or majority of times, I would go and try and watch the first team training. It was under Dick Advocat, and you had Ronald de Boer, Barry Ferguson, Claudio Reyna was there, Caniggia was there, Arteta was there as a youngster. Arteta was 18, 19 at the time. And I went to watch them training trying to do as much as I can to learn from them. And the coaches used to like come in and say, get out of the gym, you know, what are you doing in here? But when really I was just trying to, I always, when I was a young kid, always wanted to be around the first team. I was always in the kit man's room, having a laugh and a joke with the kit man. But it wasn't because I felt I was any better. I was just trying to pick up on little tips of what the first team were up to, what were they doing after the games, trying to clean the boots and that, just trying to be around the first team. If it was an away trip at Dundee, or they're playing Dundee or Dundee United, I would go and help the kit man. Not because I wanted to, it was just to see how the first team players prepared for the games and all that. And I was just taking it all on board, because that was where I wanted to, that was my aim. I wanted to get in that dressing room. I wanted to be in the first team. I wanted to move players out of the way and try and be the best player I can be. And these small details made a difference to me really in my career. And, you know, it was a great challenge, because, let's say at that time, Rangers was one of the biggest clubs, and it was brilliant for me.
Do you think it was only when you went to Blackpool, though, that the public got to see and start to see the real Charlie Adam as a footballer? Was Blackpool when you felt like you'd sort of broken through the ceiling, so to speak?
Yeah, because I felt I was given more responsibility. When you're at a big club and you're a young player coming through, you're just a number. You're just that, or you're Charlie Adam. You know, unless you're going to go and play and play every week, it's different. But when I went to Blackpool, I was, how can you say it? I was the main man, really. Everything was built around me. I was the captain. Everybody looked up to me to try and drag the football club and the team forward, because I had a standard where I was at Rangers. I was used to winning every week, or I needed to win every week to please the supporters. So I took that to Blackpool, and I still take it now. That, listen, it hurts me now losing on a Saturday as it did when I was at Rangers. It doesn't matter. I hate getting beat, but I've understood how to deal with it a lot better as I got older. I don't bring it home. I don't, you know, I've got kids now. I've got a wife. They need to understand that. But the odd Saturday I'll come home and I won't speak to anybody. I'll just sit and have a beer and watch a game, or I'll just shut off, and it's just.
How bad would it have got, though? Because if you say you've got better at it, was it like brutal when you were young and wanting to impress?
Yeah, it was hard, and it hurt more. And it probably hurts more now as because this is my team, this is my club I supported, so it hurts that a little bit more than it did before. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't take over to a Sunday where I'm sat moping round. You know, I might come in and listen. I'm not a big drinker at home, so I might just have the odd beer watching the telly or something, but I won't speak to my missus, or, you know, she'll probably be in bed or something like that. And when I get back, I'll probably just sit upstairs for an extra hour or an hour and a half on my own and think about what's going on and just chill out, play on my phone really, and then go to bed. But when the kids wake up at 6:30, 7 o'clock, you're back at it, and, you know, you're ready to go again on the Monday because you want to try and win the next game.
Charlie, did that come more? You know, when you was at Blackpool, I know we talk about wanting to win, coming through range, but when you was at Blackpool and you was the captain, and like you said, you was the main man, did you feel more pressure? Did Ian Holloway was obviously the gaffer there at the time? Did he allow you to control the dressing room? Sorry, do you know what I mean? Did he have his say?
No, he had his say, but the lads policed the dressing room. We had a good group of lads, you know what I mean? And I'd done something the other night with a Blackpool fans Seaside podcast thing, and I told them that back 10, 12 years ago when I was there, we were out twice a week. We'd probably have a few beers after the game, depends on the journey. So if it was, say for instance, we were playing at Plymouth, right? We played Plymouth in the season we got promoted. We played away at Plymouth. We won 2-0, and we were on the bus for 10 minutes. Oli stops the bus manager and he went, right lads, get into that shop, load the bus up, get the beers on. 2 minutes later, we stopped off, fish and chips, everybody off the bus, on the bus. And to be fair, at the time, we used to come back from away games and we'd be straight out into Blackpool. 6 or 7 lads would go out into town in their tracksuits, few beers. But we'd always try and at least once a month have a Sunday session where we'd always go Super Sunday in Lytham, 10 lads, 12 lads in the pub, 12 o'clock. Probably when it was an Old Firm game, And we'd be there to 7, 8 o'clock at night, playing games, drinking. You know, we'd have Andy Reid was on the guitar singing. We'd be singing in the bar. The locals would be singing ways and that. Perfect. But we had a team spirit, and the bonding was just incredible. And like you say, you kind of get away with that nowadays because of camera phones and whatever. But no, it was team
that is
spirit.
A sign. That is a sign, Chaz. I think that is a sign, a big sign of a good dressing room. If you've got it's easy to say a drinking culture and all that stuff. No, but let me tell you, when shit hits the fan and you feel like it's going down a little bit, a good night out, a good Sunday session with the lads clears all the air, mate. Don't it?
It does. Yeah, because you say things that you probably wouldn't say when you were sober or you were in a group of players. People relax. And you know what? Lads don't take it as personal when you've had a drink. You know, you might be sat in the corner talking about it, and you know, not every player gets on with each other, right? Let's just say about that. Yeah. But you respect each other, and you might say things about each other, or you might say it to them when you've had a drink. Then you might not say it in a whole group because some lads are shy or whatever. But it's I definitely believe that team spirit is massive, and if you can get that right, then you've got half a chance of being successful.
You talk about team spirit, and Ian Holloway is a real character. You've touched on it briefly about him sort of allowing you as players to do what you want, but is he like we would know him from watching him in interviews? Is he a bit mad?
No, that's him. That's him. There's no different, you know, person behind the cameras. Listen, he's a serious manager. You know, he'll set his team up. He'll work hard. He wanted the lads to work hard. But if there was a laugh and a joke to be had, he'd be the first there. Like, Ollie, the amount of story, we'd turn up on a Friday and he'd just go, not for us today, lads. And we, because we had a good group, we'd all want to train. You know what it's like on a Friday. You want little five-a-sides round the edge, playing possession. He's like, let's go to the cafe. So we'd go to the cafe round the corner for the training ground. You know, the workers, all the builders and that, big greasy fry-ups and that. He's like, right, just have whatever you want. So the lads were eating bacon rolls and having cups of tea and all that. This is on a Friday, Ollie, before games. And the locals were in having their breakfast and that. And he's like, right, lads, on the bus, 1:30 at the stadium, we're going to, say, Peterborough, whatever, and that was us, no training. He loved a laugh and a joke, but we trained hard when we had to, and gone down to it. Team spirit and good senior players.
You got your big signing in some aspects to Liverpool. How did that come about?
Well, I had obviously played well in the Championship, and I got nominated. Did I get nominated for Player of the Year? Yeah, I got in Team of the Year in the Championship, and then obviously we got to the Premier League. So there was no interest in this that summer, which was, you know, when looking back, you're thinking strange, but obviously you've never played in the Premier League, so you're thinking that, you know, that was why. But then January came, and probably around about the early January, my agent got a call from Damien Camoli, or it was Kenny. One of them phoned them to say, listen, we'd be interested in Charlie, and how much would it cost, do you think, to get out? And my agent was probably saying, 4 million or something like that. Wouldn't it be a lot of money? And we were saying, oh, okay then. But I was just buzzing when I got that opportunity. And then, as it happened, we obviously spoke to Liverpool. My agent had spoke to them and said, like, well, that was it. And I went to Kenny's house. Kenny wanted to speak to me, so I went to Kenny's house, and you know, I drove there with my agent. Chapped on the door. He opens the door, comes in. He says, "Do you want a cup of coffee or that?" And he sat with his slippers on, that watching the Masters. I can remember it well. The Masters was on, and he was sat there watching the golf. And I said, "Do you want a cup of tea?" And that, yeah. I went, "Yeah, I'd love a tea, no sugar, milk, blah. What do you want? Coffee for my agent?" He went, "Right, okay, kitchen's in there." And I was like, hold on. I said, what? He says, yeah, kitchen's in there. So I've gone to walk into the kitchen, that. So he gets up laughing and joking. So he's in making the teas and that. And he's like to me, Marina's on holiday, that's his wife. And she went, she's on holiday, so I'm not sure if the milk's off or, you know, if there's any biscuits in. But anyway, there's a cup of tea and that. So we sat and spoke for about 10 minutes. And I must have sat there for about 45 minutes there, just watching the golf with him. No even any conversation, just saying, listen, we want you to come, we'll try and get a deal done, but if it doesn't happen, mate, we'll look at it again this summer, and, you know, we'll make sure it gets done. And I was like, oh, brilliant. So I was gone, obviously sat there for 10 minutes having a cup of tea, then that 45 minutes was just like, nothing actually was said, you know, but it was great. And come the summer, the deal was done, and I let's say, can remember it well. Was sat in my house. So I'm sorry, in the January window, the deal was off, and that was when I put a transfer request in. And I got a phone call late in the night. This is like I think the transfer window closed at 11, and this at 9:30. I get a call from an unknown number, and it's Jamie Redknapp saying, "Listen, I don't know how you got my number." I said, "My dad's going to call you. He wants to take you to Tottenham." And I said, "Okay." So I was desperate. I was thinking, "Well, yes, I'll go to Tottenham." Like thinking, "Brilliant, let's go to Tottenham." But it was just the deal could never be done, and obviously Blackpool were playing hardball. So we get to the summer, got relegated, and I was wondering what was going to happen. I had one or two little nibbles, but I always had my heart set on Liverpool, and they'd spoke to me all the way from January to the summer and saying, "Listen, don't worry about it. We'll get a deal done. We really need you. We want you," and all that. And I was delighted, buzzing, agreed contract, everything like that. And then Doomsday was, it was like a Wednesday night or something. I knew there was a meeting happening with the owner of Blackpool and the secretary and Liverpool at the Preston Marriott Hotel. And this was happening at 7 o'clock. I knew by 8:30, 9 o'clock what was happening. So I got a call from the secretary saying, "Listen, everything's agreed, you can go." So at that time, I'm 25. I wasn't driving, so I had no licence to drive at that time. I was 25, hadn't passed my test. And
what was you doing?
I don't know. I was just too lazy because I hadn't really needed it.
My team bus everywhere.
Yeah, my missus at the time, she was driving me everywhere, driving me to training every day, took me everywhere, and she was out somewhere, and I got a call and said, "Listen, you're doing a medical in the next, can you get over to the academy at Liverpool within the next hour and a bit?" I said, "Yeah." So I phoned my missus. I said, "Where is she?" I don't know where she was. Might have been in Manchester or something. I said, "Listen, the medical's happening. I need to go." All my mates were working. I said to one of my mates, I says, "Where are you?" He says, "Oh, I'm round the corner for your house." I says, "Oh, okay then. Pick me up." I says, "I need you to take me to Liverpool." So I've gone, get a shower, get my suit on and that. He said, "Listen, mate, my car's at home. I'm in my work van." So I said, "What?" He says, "I'm in my work van. I'm in my work kit." I said, "Get it. Bring me." So he picked me up in this white transit van, work van. He's a brickie. He took me to Liverpool training ground in this white van, dropped me off. I'm in my suit, ready to go and do the medical. My agent's meeting me at Melwood, the training ground, and Kenny's there waiting, chauffeur, Mercedes car and all that. And I'm picked up with Kenny, and then I get out this white van. It was surreal, and it was just a brilliant year that, let's say, I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to play for such a great club.
And Charlie, obviously that was the start now. So as you said earlier on with your career, you're going in and people obviously looking up to you. You see what they've got. You see what they've got in the dressing room, and you're going in after going off about individually a good season for yourself, and you're going into the Liverpool dressing room thinking, right, what can I add? One, what can I add to this team? But two, the lad's going to have me, because you've been in the dressing room same as me. When new signings come in, you're thinking, yeah, he's a good signing for us, or.
Yeah, no, and I was the same. I was so nervous for about a month. Every time I got the ball, I gave it away. I was thinking I could just listen. I don't mind saying it, but I look up to Stevie. I think he obviously one of the greatest players to play for England and an absolute legend at Liverpool. And every time I gave the ball away, I was thinking, what's he thinking? Is he thinking I'm not good enough to play for this football club? Cara was the same. It's just because they had that presence and that aura when you walked in the dressing room. It was like, are they judging me? Am I good enough to be there? But once I started playing and relaxed and played a few games, and obviously I set the first goal up for Suarez first day of the season against Sunderland, and obviously we drew 1-1, but then I felt more relaxed, and each game that I played I felt great. And I played 24 Premier League games in a row, and it was I loved it. I loved it, and I ended up playing like 35. I think it was about 38 games I played the whole season there, and ended up winning the Carling Cup. And I got injured against QPR, which ruled me out at the end of the season for the FA Cup final.
For you to play with Gerrard, who was obviously someone you looked up to be managed by Kenny, who I'm sure was an idol, to have Carragher there as well, and then this player called Luis Suarez, who just so happened to be one of the best footballers in the world. I mean, in training, I know Chaz just touched on it there, but are they doing things that not at any stage in your career you'd seen? Like, is Suarez Clearly, he's phenomenal. But were you in awe of him in many ways, given what he could do on a football pitch, or do you have to put yourself on their level?
No, because Louis obviously come from Ajax, and not many people knew who he was. But the big thing about these top players, Ollie, and Chaz will tell you, it's how they train is how they play. They're at it every single day. They don't have a day off. Like, they set a standard for everybody. And I hear Stevie talk about it before, about it. It's about everybody else trying to get back up, getting up to their level, you know, and we're all fighting to try and get to his level. So when I signed at the time, it was me, Jordan, Andy Carroll had signed in the January window, Stuart Downing signed, and I was walking to a dressing room. It had Dirk Kuyt, Pepe Reina, Carragher, Bellamy, Daniel Agger, Glenn Johnson. So it was overawing at the time, and it was a wake up call. But you know, you got to trust yourself on do the right things. What got you there, but also then you have to go to another level to stay there.
You know, the top players when they was there, and people think they get to the top and they're happy with that. They're not. When they're there, they want to go better, don't they? So was Gerrard doing extra, Suarez extra, even more the players, all of them, all doing extra after training? Because you hear about, JT's talked about it at Chelsea, that they used to watch Lampard smashing balls, practicing like the wobble now, how the ball. Then Drogba started. Then he says, JT said, I see them doing it. I wanted to stay out. Was that them? Was that Liverpool then doing that?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, unfortunately for me at the time, Stevie had a few injuries. He had a bad groin injury, and I never really got to play the same team a lot with him. But it's not like, I wouldn't say he stayed out every day after training and was practicing like free kicks and things like that. He would just set his tone on the training pitch, in the possessions, in the games, you know, hate losing. And Louis was the same. Him and Carragher used to batter lumps at each other, you know, like, there was times when some of the tackles were just outrageously ridiculous, but both of them wanted to win. There was a hunger and desire to battle against each other, and it was just great to see. And we had a few young lads at, like I say, at the time, myself, Jordan, Andy, John Joe Shelby, Spear, and Martin Kelly, people like that who just, you know, were young lads learning the game and just being round it. But you know, you had people like Craig Bellamy who would stay out after they hitting free kicks, and just top professionals every day.
Now, obviously, you get to the end of the year, you've won a trophy, obviously the Carling Cup with Liverpool. Then you go on to Stoke. What are you think? Are you gone from the moment where you was at Liverpool and you're going and you're nervous because of obviously what squad you're going into? Now you're going to Stoke. Are you flip-siding that where you're thinking, do you know what? I'll fit into this team. I'll get in there. I've come back off the year with Liverpool. I'm going to go there and kind of be that main man again.
It was strange because I'd gone there, hadn't spoke to the manager. Obviously,
Good start.
I spoke to Brendan, and Brendan said to me, "Listen, the club need to get rid of you because finances." I knew that was a lot of rubbish. You know, I said, "Listen, you know, for what they were going." I said, "Okay."
Were you gutted about that?
Oh, I was distraught, but I should have been. I'd worked so hard, and I should have just been resilient enough to say, "Listen, do you know what? Nah, I'm not going anywhere. I'll see what happens, and maybe move in the January or in the following summer." But I wanted to play. I felt I'm a player. I want to play every week. I felt like that was an opportunity to go, and I probably, and it's one of the regrets I have, I probably left that year too early. But that's football, and you make that decision. I hadn't spoke to Tony Pulis before I signed there, and I walked in the door, and Jermaine Pennant said to me, "What are you down here?" I said, "What do you mean?" That's what he said to me. I says, "What are you signing here for?" I says, "What do you mean?" He says, "This is not your football. You ain't going to play how you're going to like it." And I was sat there before doing the medical, and my agent was talking to the chief executive at the time, trying to do a deal, and I was thinking, what's going on here? Like, is it really that? And I was like, do you know what? Maybe that's him because he wasn't playing or something like that. So I hadn't even spoke to the manager, and so I'd gone there, signed. Listen, delighted to sign there because obviously I felt I was going to get an opportunity to play. I played a few games. And then the moment of truth really come for me as I lost my dad in the Christmas period, December. And so obviously he died. And then on the Saturday we were playing Tottenham away and I missed the game, come back. And then things were a bit iffy a little bit, do you know what I mean, with the manager. And I was like, never really played. And come the January, he pulled me in. And he pulled me in and said, "Listen, I'm Not sure it's worked for both of us. No worked for the club. It's no worked for you. You're not playing well. I think it's time, if you can find yourself a move. I just signed a 4-year deal 6 months ago, and I was thinking, I've got 3.5 years left. Says, all right, okay. And I got my agent, and he went and said the same. You need to get him going. You need to get him going playing somewhere else. So fortunate for me at the time, I couldn't go anywhere because I'd played for Liverpool earlier in the season in the Europa League. So you can't play for 3 clubs in a one season. So that stopped me from thinking, hold on a minute, because I probably would have moved again. I would have just went, oh yeah, no problem. I would have.
Do you think you'd have went?
I would have went, yeah, because I wanted to play. If he told me I'm not in the plans, I would have just probably went again. And I went, okay, no problem with that. So lucky for me, I couldn't play. So I never played until it was about March. And I can remember it well. We played QPR at Loftus Road. And I got chucked in on the right-hand side of midfield. And we were struggling at the time. And we were close to relegation. And I think we beat us 2-0 that day. We stayed up, and I stayed in the team then till the end of the season. And the manager got sacked. He left in the summer. And then Mark Hughes come in, and everything changed for me, really.
I've got to ask you about the screamer you scored from inside your own half at Stamford Bridge. Was that a complete fluke, or was it all practiced in the extra hours in training that you used to do it
that was
wherever you were?
Well, I tried plenty of times, Ollie. If you obviously watched it, when I was at Blackpool, Liverpool, I tried it often enough, and I was fortunate enough for me eventually to come off at one point. And
such a good feeling, I bet.
Oh, it was unbelievable. Chelsea away against, at that time, probably one of the best goalies in the world in Courtois, and to lob him from there was, I was absolutely buzzing.
Chaz, what's the furthest you've scored from? 12 yards?
6.
Yeah, 6. I went through my 50 goals at QPR, and I'm not joking. I think 10, 12 have all been from no more than 3 yards out. Happens. I think the furthest I've scored, 25 yards. That's it.
Imagine.
You're not paid to score outside the post, are you? These strikers.
Correct.
Don't give him an excuse. Try and get one screamer in there.
It was the old Charlie Austin the other night, wasn't it?
Yes.
Sucked a defender to the front post, peeled off
to
the back of him.
Bosh!
Header. See you later.
Golazzo!
The thing I don't get is everyone knows what you're going to do. I watch and I know which run you're going to make. How come these defenders...
Ollie, every goalie knew R9 was going to do the double step over, but they couldn't stop him, mate.
Charlie, there's another... I mean, it's early days in our podcast career, but already I think given the reaction to episode 1, we can call them rivals. The reaction to episode 1 of Studs Up was amazing, so a massive thank you to everyone who liked, subscribed, downloaded and what have you, and I hope you're enjoying what's a fascinating chat with Charlie Adam here on episode 2. But I've got to ask you, because for a series on Peter Crouch's podcast, there was this Who is Parched, and I believe he's now revealed that it was you. Did you know anything about this?
No, Ollie, absolutely nothing. So here's one for you. I had no clue about it, and looking back at now I realise why. Because Chaz will say, when we're in possession to finish it. And so what happened was so when possessions were finished, I was always going over to like coaches and speaking, asking about, because I was thinking about my coach's head on and what I was talking about dimensions and what we did this for and what reason. I was asking loads of questions. And Chaz worked with Eddie Nidzwicki, who's a top coach and a great guy. So I was always asking him and the manager at the time and Bo and, what was the reason for this? Because I wanted to learn, I was learning. And they were all having a drink and that. And obviously one day somebody's come up with it. And I never knew nothing about it. And the only reason I knew about it was I was playing golf one day and somebody texted me saying, what's this Parched? No, what it was is I was at Reading at the time and the groundsman came up to me and said, who's this Parched? And I was like, what are you on about? He said, oh yeah, people are saying it's you and that. And I was like, nah, it's not me. What are you on about? This is the groundsman. So I'm playing golf one day and my mate gets in the car and they were taking bets at one point in the bookies, weren't they, on who it was. So my mate said to me, listen, you're even money. And I says, what? I said, so listen, so I've texted Crouchy. I said, listen, big man, be honest with me. What's this Parched all about? And I got this big long text back. You're like, well, big man, do you know what it's like? He says, well, when we were all having a drink and that, and you were over talking to the manager and that, the name Parched just come out of nowhere, and we stuck with it behind your back and that. And I buzzed off it. Do you know what I mean? I was loving it. And he's like, do you know what we should do? We should get you on the podcast and we'll reveal it's you. And I was like, brilliant, let's do it. Got on it. And it was obviously got hanging. And then I got, somebody sent me a mug with Parched on it. And I was having a cup of tea and that. So it was, it was good. It was great fun. And like I say, that was going down to a good camaraderie in the dressing room.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm glad you took it well. I thought, should I ask him the question? I don't know how he's going to take this, but no, thankfully, I know you and Crouchy are mates, so I know it was all in good spirits. But amazing stuff, and but there are so many brilliant memories. Your career took you to the international stage, and you played under some great managers there, the likes of Strachan and what have you. Scotland have now qualified for the Euros in that penalty shootout win last year, I think it was now. How do you think they'll get on at the Euros if it's this summer?
Well, listen, Oli, as a nation, we're delighted to be there. It was 20 odd years before we'd been in France night. It was the last time. Really difficult, but we're there now. The lads done brilliant and made it hard for ourselves. But no, listen, we're going there. Tough group: England, Czech Republic, and Croatia. So listen.
Did you ever play England when you played internationally?
I was on the bench once at Wembley. Yeah, I think we lost 3-1.
What's it like?
Oh, it was brilliant. It was brilliant because it's. I think it's difficult when you play international football. When you're playing against your club mates at times or lads that you know. It's a bit different. But being at Wembley and Scotland fans at Wembley, obviously we lost, but it was brilliant. And listen, hopefully we could all go in the summer and watch. And because if we can, I'll be there and be hopefully as a Scotland fan trying to enjoy it.
Good luck to Scotland in the Euros.
You don't mean that.
I do actually.
No, you don't.
No, look, I'll be cheering on England. Yeah, you're right. I don't mean that. Is it that obvious? But your career was amazing, and well done on what has been a tremendous journey, and for all that you've achieved in football as a player, and I'm sure will go on to achieve as a manager. But I want to ask, if I can, about your love of racing, and we touched on it briefly about your daughter's interest in horses and what have you. But a lot of people I speak to get a passion for racing from family members. Is that where it came for you?
Yeah, it happened. I still remember it. The old man used to go and put his little lucky 15s on, 20 pence lucky 15s and that, just for a bit of fun, interest. And that's where you take it from. And once you got a few winners, a couple of times you picked up the 4 winners and, picking up a couple £100 and there was a real buzz about the house and things like that. And everybody has a little flutter on the national and things like that. So it was always there, and it's just something I really enjoyed. Even just going to yards or things like that. I get a buzz going to even see the horses, just to going up the gallops and things like that. So it's just brilliant,
Did you have any horses growing up that particularly sort of really struck a chord with you and resonated with you?
I think over the years, the great, flat ones of Franco and anything that Tony McCoy was on was something I love the champ. He's a great guy, but also he was a great jockey, wasn't he? You talk about Franco and things like that. So being able to then go to Royal Ascot, going to Cheltenham, going to the big meetings was just it was great. And lads start talking about, even in England when I was playing in England, come January, lads were talking about March already. Right, are we going to Cheltenham? And that was the buzz, wasn't it? And then you take your wife once to Royal Ascot, and then all of a sudden it's every year. Are we going to Ascot in June? And you're preparing for that as well. The
Cheltenham Festival is coming up in a few moments' time, Charlie.
Yeah.
I will ask you for an anti-post selection, because what we're doing is we're putting together a studs up sort of anti-post collection from all our guests. So I want to get your thoughts on who you think is going to win at the Cheltenham Festival. We'll do that in a moment, but as is always the case here on Studs Up, we have the microphone handed over to Mr. Charlie Parklife Austin for his weekly rant.
Yes.
So, Charlie, the floor is yours. What is Charlie's rant this week?
My rant this week is the 2 red cards of David Luiz and Jan Bednarak. One has been overturned, Bednarak's, and David Luiz has stayed, so he will serve a suspension. How can that be a red card? Yes, they've made no attempt to get the ball. But Christ, they get a penalty. Just give them a yellow card. The rule has to be changed. It's bonkers. I mean, now I see Rio Ferdinand after the game, Southampton Man United, saying, from now on, all I've got to do to defend is tell them to smash the players. So you're saying, because they didn't make an attempt for the ball, that is a red card. But if Jan Bednarek or David Luiz made a big challenge, tackled the guy, and it is a penalty, they only get a yellow card. The rule is wrong and needs to be changed.
I think for me, watching it as a football fan who doesn't play the game and should just update, the Bednarek, he's had his red card overturned. David Luiz hasn't. So they're two very similar incidents. And even in the review, they seem to not really know what's going on. I, as a football fan, I'm falling out of love with the game because I have no idea what's going on. As players, does it make you question the game? Charlie, Adam, what are your thoughts on what's going on at the moment?
Shambolic. I don't like VAR. I never have. I think it's spoiling the game. And when you've got an opportunity like that and you still can't get the right decision, then it's a huge worry. And I'm with Chaz. I don't think that they either give a penalty or they book him for diving. It's simple as that. There was an incident in Scotland not so long ago where Morelos goes down, he gets clipped, and because the player never intended to play the ball, if he slid in and tackled him, he would have only got a yellow. And he ended up with a red card, sent off, game over. So it's spoiling the game, and even if the players don't even understand the rules, how is everybody else who don't play the game, how are they going to understand it? It's become a shambles at times, and hopefully we can probably get rid of it, but I don't think we will.
It needs to be used better. VAR is there to help, but it's causing more problems than what it's worth.
How
really
can you be
is.
offside with your fingernail?
What? No,
so many offsides.
Charlie, not that. Last week, Danny Ings points where he wants the ball, is offside because his sleeve is offside. But let me tell you, if a cross come in and it hit his arm and goes in, they're giving handball. They're not saying that goal's counting because it hit him on the sleeve. They're giving handball. The rules for the offside, for the last man stuff, is bonkers. It's all wrong.
The other thing is as well is as fans, you're obviously on the pitch and we're watching at home, but we can't celebrate. We can't, the emotion of football, which is why we love it. The ones in the stands supporting you guys out there. It's because that sort of unbridled, forget everything that's going on in your 9-to-5 day jobs and whatever, and just lose yourself in this match. Well, now you go, there's a goal. Oh no, I don't know whether I can celebrate. Let me wait till it gets confirmed on a screen.
Not even.
And
it's rubbish, Ollie.
There's no emotion in it
Even
anymore.
that, right? Last night, so I do the Fulham Leicester game. Prime example, yeah? It's a prime example. Where the stadium's empty, it's only a certain amount of people in their media. The ref should trial explaining the VAR situations and the decisions to all the people that's in the stadium. It doesn't need to connect to the fans and stuff, but to trial it. So when fans do come back in, it's played through the stadium speakers. There's no reason for them not to trial this. They go to the screen. So Mike Dean's talking to Graham Scott the other day. For the 50 to 100 media people that's in the stadium, they know what's going on because they can hear it. There's no reason for them not to trial it. The whole thing is a joke.
Let's talk other football matters, though. One of the sending-offs happened in the Man U versus Southampton game, 9-0, the second 9-0 for Hassan Hutel in charge of Southampton. Is that just write it off? I say one off, it's a sort of two off in the space of 12 months. But are those just freak matches that you as players would forget about if you were at Southampton?
No. How can you forget about
it?
No. No, you can't.
Well,
happened last year. Ollie, don't use the red cards as an excuse. Ryan Bertrand got sent off after half an hour last time against Leicester, and they go and concede 7 off the back of that.
Okay,
it don't matter if you have a man sent off. You don't matter if you have a man sent off at half an hour, 2 minutes into the game, or 70 minutes. As a manager and as a team, you've got to be resilient. You've got to be strong. All right, they're going at half time, 4 down. Second half, you go, right, we ain't conceding no more. Just stay solid.
So is there something clinically wrong at Southampton then that they're able?
No, the manager plays 4-4-1. 4-4-1. They still try and press. Just sit in. Just sit in and let them have the ball, Man United, but be strong and solid. Surely you can't concede 9. Surely, not twice, Once, all right, freak, but twice, not for me.
Charlie, what do you make of it?
No, he's spot on. I totally agree with him. And also, I think the players on the pitch have got to look at themselves and say, hold on a minute. You know, as a captain, I would be saying, pulling your left winger and pulling your right winger, allowing it to go wide or whatever, but we keep it narrow, we keep it tight, and we don't concede. Listen, if you concede one more, okay, it's acceptable. 5-0's okay. But to concede 5, that's more than what you conceded in the first half. So
tell me which, Chaz, tell me in the second half which one, okay, take away the 8 and the 9 after the penalty, but the next 3, tell me which one of them was any good. They didn't carve Southampton over with a quick 1-2 play around the edge of the box. It's like they just give up. People's going to say, is Charlie Austin having his say on Southampton again? Of course he's doing. No, it's not. It's me just having an opinion on a football game that I just see one side walk all over another.
Yeah, so there was the 9-0, which lots of people have spoken about. What else has happened in the world of football? You said earlier that Fulham, the signs aren't great there. Do you think already, I know obviously it's difficult for you, Chaz, to say because you're obviously with West Brom, but Charlie, Adam, do you look at it and think that the 3 teams that will be going down into the Championship are sort of already set in stone to a certain extent?
It is. It's a bit of a worry. Obviously, Sheffield United have had a couple of decent results in the last few weeks, but they've left it too late, I think. And I think the 3 that are there at the moment will go down. My worry for West Brom, and this is my opinion, Chaz is obviously still contracted there, is that they ship in so many goals, and that's the worry. Big Sam was always, when he come in, he's like clean sheets, and they're still shipping goals left, right and centre. So that's a huge worry for them. But listen, you're in a difficult position. It's tough, the Premier League, and when you're in that rut and you're losing football matches, it's hard to change it. It's
the team spirit, from what you know, Chaz, still there at West Brom, though. We talk about spirit, heads dropping, etc. We've talked about that throughout the podcast. Do they still believe that they can stay up?
Yeah, definitely. I do believe they do, because they've got a good group and a good core, and they brought players in. But I do believe in the lads. They've got a good team spirit there. A good Big Sam's got a good record, so you have to back them.
Final question about this week's football. Charlie, you've played under some interesting managers, some characters. We've touched on Ian Holloway, Gordon Strachan at Scotland. Did you see... You okay?
Yeah.
Good man. Did you... sorry to the listeners if you just heard Charlie cough into his
I'm not sure if... Can we just clear that out? There was nothing with Gordon Strachan, and just when he said Gordon Strachan, it was like...
No.
You're not going to reveal it.
He only ended my Scotland career, it's all right.
That's why it's all making sense now.
Yes.
But do you know what the thing is, right? I never played... I had 26 caps. That was my last cap under Gordon, right? And he now works for Dundee. He's like technical director. And my relationship with him is brilliant. Like, I could go with him, speak to him. You know, I go and watch him coaching the young lads at night, because he takes like from the under 18s below, and he has a plan for the coaches and things like that. Different class, what a coach!
Oh, brilliant! That is brilliant,
and must be great learning from someone with that much experience. But I wanted to ask you about Sean Dyche's press conference. Did you see that? The Lookalikes.
I listened to it this morning on the way in. It was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, phenomenal. What did you make of it?
No, I just thought it was brilliant. Like, he was just like, right, let's stop. This is boring, isn't it? We're all bored of these same media things every week. So let's say, you ever play Lookalikes with your mates or that in the pub?
Does it get really boring for you lads, asking the same questions in the run-up to matches?
Well, listen, I think for the managers it is, and the players, it's the same thing. You can't be controversial, can you? You just say the same thing. No. You respect your opponents and whatever. But, you know, Sean's obviously come out with a bit of humour, and it's gone down well, really, for the public.
The one thing you've got to take into account as well when you do media before games is that never give the opposition their team talk. For me, Watford on Monday night almost just pushed us to one side and were going to roll us over. Mm-hmm. And that was enough for us to go, right, all right, well, we're going to show you then. So you've always got to be careful what you say before the games, because you never want to rile up the opposition dressing room.
I think you're always better going the other way and buttering them up and saying, listen, a good side and good players and everything like that. Because like you say, Chaz, and you do look at it, every player says they don't, but they look at what everybody else is commenting on, what they've said, and if there's anything wrong, it's in your mind then, it fires you up, and you think, even if it's a player that said something, say, by the way, first 5 minutes, he's getting it. And that's how it works.
So psychology is massive then, isn't it? In terms of mindset going out onto the pitch against teams who might have said something that annoyed you or the other way.
Huge. And listen, I'll put it into there. We had the situation earlier in the season for Dundee. There was a TV show where these 4 lads were slaughtering us, saying, "Oh, they signed Adam, they signed this, the manager's not good enough, they'll be lucky if they don't get relegated." So the manager put like a game, a video together, put it up on the screen in the dressing room before the game. It was about 5 or 6 minutes long. These lads hammered us on the telly. We played it, and I think it was against, I think we were playing Arbroath on the Saturday. We put it against this, and they hammered us, fired us up. We won 1-0, and we've never looked back. Okay, we got beat the weekend, but we went on a game of 8 unbeaten. We're, 3rd, 4th in the league. So that inspired us. Do you know what I mean? Where at that time we were struggling a little bit. Listen, we were in a bad way, and we're losing games and we're losing goals, but that fired us up, and we used that to advantage, and we wanted a great run. So hopefully that would inspire us, and and that's what you use it for.
Chaz, before I ask you both for who you think you look alike, is Sean Dyche a good manager?
Yeah, very, very good. Man manager. He's got a good coaching staff. He is one of them that you want to play for. He is one that you want to run for a brick wall for. And he rewards you. Win games of football, days off. That's what footballers want. Do you know what I mean? You get your days off. You win games of football for him. But one thing I liked the most about him on a personal level, I failed a medical at Hull, and I was adamant I was going Premier League. I come back, and he just sat down for half an hour with me and just said, "Look, these 6 weeks are so important to you as a footballer, because you've got to get that fitness ready for the season, whether you are here at Burnley or whether you leave." And I was like, okay, let me tell you, he give it to me every single day to make sure my standards didn't slip. I wasn't sulking. I went to Ireland on a pre-season tour and got battered by him every single day. And it's probably the fittest I'd been for a long, long time. And albeit 2 days before the season started, I was sold to QPR. So he's good, man.
Oh, go on then. I'll put you on the spot here. Have you been told you look like someone in the past?
Russell Crowe, Liam Hemsworth. Listen, Liam Hemsworth. I was in a restaurant in Florida with the missus, right? So people used to message it to me on Twitter, and I say to my missus, say, "Look at this, babe. They think it's me." No, it's not. No, it's not. Anyway, I go back to this girl. I stand up, and she goes, "Excuse me." I said, "Yes." Are you Liam Hemsworth? I was like, "Yes! I told you! Yes!"
Do you know what? I'm going to let you into a secret. That's amazing. Because when we did the first podcast, I put a photo of us recording it on Instagram, and someone sent me a direct message, and I'm trying to find it now. Here we go. They went, "Oh my God, I thought that was Liam Hemsworth for a moment."
Yes! Get in there.
That is the racing presenter Tom Stanley's wife, Lauren Stanley, that sent me that. And so it's. What about you, Charlie?
Listen, I've been called everything really, so.
Do you know? Parched is.
Yeah, I could listen. Ollie, it could be anything for me. I get slaughtered with everything, my teeth, whatever. But hey, that's life, innit? It's you get on with it, and you laugh it off, have a laugh in the joke, and don't take things too serious.
Correct.
Right, all right. Correct. Well, I'm going to... Because there's 2 Charlies, you should have told me that at the start, Chaz, because I could have referred to you as Liam throughout, and then would have made my job a lot easier referring to both
I'm so buzzing someone messaged you that, mate. So buzzing.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
We can tell. Right, racing coming up this weekend is incredible. It's the Dublin Racing Festival, and some of the really big names from Ireland. I know that Chaz and Charlie are looking forward to seeing in action, the likes of Chacun Poursoir. You've got Min, Enna Janim, who's a really exciting prospect. You've got Honeysuckle. You've got the Irish Gold Cup with Minella Indo. The list goes on. And as well as that, we've got Grade 1 action from Sandown. We saw Shishkin win last weekend. The racing coming up this weekend is superb, and can't wait for that. Just to let you know that Sky Bet, as always, they have got an offer for the racing, and a great offer this weekend from Leopardstown. On Saturday, they're paying 7 places instead of 4 in the 350 at Leopardstown on Saturday. So do bear that in mind. Charlie Adam, not Liam, Charlie Adam, these horses that are coming up this weekend, they are the cream of the crop in Ireland, aren't they?
Listen, they're the top horses in Ireland, and it's always great to see them out. And Honeysuckle obviously coming out to win every race, and Manila Indo's out as well. So it'll be interesting to see it getting ready for Cheltenham. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out.
Definitely, and actually, as we build up to Cheltenham on Studs Up, this is one of the key weekends, I guess, when you're trying to formulate who you will fancy come Cheltenham Festival time, because it's probably the last time that we'll see Chacun Pour Soi in action before Cheltenham, etc. So it's a massive weekend, and as always, we have got a Studs Up double for you, and this is brought to you by oddschecker and Sky Bet, the Studs Up podcast, and the double you can find on Sky Bet on the tabs. Just, I'm sure you all know by now, but anyway, you can track it down on Sky Bet, and you can side with me and Charlie if you want. And do you want to go first, Chaz, or shall I?
Yeah, I can only apologise to listeners for last week. One, for Ollie's poor selection on the Friday, and at least I ran into third. So this week, I'm not even going to give you time to answer there, mate. This week, I am going for Shan Blue in the Scilly Isles Novice at Sandown. For me, 3 wins out of 3 over the fences. It's going to take this one. It'll take all the beating come Saturday.
Shan Blue for Charlie. I actually did a really interesting jockey masterclass with Harry Skelton about Shan Blue. He's a brilliant jumper, and I should just say, because I absolutely butchered it a few moments ago, but if you do want to find the Sky Bet Studs Up double, then head to the specials tab in the horse racing markets. I thought I could style it out, but I was so bad that I thought I actually best go and correct myself. But anyway, that's where it is. So Shan Blue for Chaz. That's in the Grade 1 on Sandown on Saturday. For me, I'm going for Energenim in the Arkle trial at Leopardstown on Saturday. Those are 2 novice chasers with massive futures. Energenim is a horse whose sectional times from his wins are phenomenal, and he looks the real deal. And actually, we mentioned about Shishkin, and Shishkin's a very short price favourite for the Arkle at the festival. Well, I think Energenim is going to serve it up to him, and I fully expect him to win on Saturday. So looking forward to that. Have you ever owned horses?
Me?
Yeah. Have you owned?
I've had a few. I've had a few over the years. Yeah.
Any good ones? Or
Yeah.
all...
Well, funny enough, I bought one with Michael Owen at his yard called Fine in Dundee, and we won at the May Festival meeting, and we he won by about 8 lengths in the mud, Kingscote Road, and it was brilliant. What a day it was!
Were you there that day?
I was there. Yeah, I was there, and I was brilliant.
Chester
is
rocking in May. It's an unbelievable place on the Rudy in the town.
Yeah.
Must have been some buzz that.
Well, listen, we need an anti-post selection off you for Cheltenham. Ali McCoist set it off and went for Royal Pagali in the Gold Cup. Am I right there, Ollie?
Yeah, he went for that horse, Venetia's horse in the Gold Cup.
Yeah. We are also, just to let you know, we are doing a table, so we will know where the horse is finished and that. I'd hate for you to come at the bottom.
It's only one, or can I've got two that I fancy.
Yeah,
One.
no, 2.
2?
Well, what?
So I'm going to
Double up.
I'm going to go.
More the merrier.
Brave Man's Game for Paul Nicholls for John Dance.
Yeah.
And 1 from Gordon and Elliott's. I'm not sure where he's going to run yet. I'll have a look now. It is called Iscaria 10.
Oh yeah. I think that's owned by. Is that owned by Kenny Alexander? Might be. Anyway, I'll check it out.
Honeysuckle's owner.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah. But I don't know where it's going to run. One of them
right.
2.
Oh, you can have 2. You can have 2.
Is that all right, Chaz? You're the party pooper there. You wanted him to only have one.
But then
if you had to have one.
If I was to have one, I'd go for Brave Man's Game.
In the Ballymore?
Yes,
the 2.5 mile hurdle.
Yeah.
That probably makes it easier for Chaz to keep a note of it.
Yeah, it does.
If we just have one itch, he wants a column, he wants to highlight when people have winners and losers.
Well,
and
do you know when especially if we have returning guests, mate, we can't be asking them for their selections if they come in the relegation zone. That's no good.
We should do that, promotion and relegation.
Yeah, mate.
Charlie, what have you got coming up over the next few days?
I have 3 games next week. Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. So tough week.
How's it on the old body, that 3 games in a week?
It's taking its toll, but you know, the recovery is taking the extra couple of days is nice, but no, ready to go. And listen, you just plod along, keep going, and trying to play as well as you can because you're a long time retired.
And what about you, Chaz?
Well, we've got Blackburn on Saturday, and then a free week, and we play Bournemouth. Then it goes. I think we've got 7 games in 5 weeks. I think Saturday, Tuesday. But like Charlie said, long time retired. You want to enjoy every moment and keep playing. That's what we do. That's what we're paid for. Have smiles on our faces and do what we love, Ollie.
Absolutely. And this is me doing what I love. I don't score goals or set up goals like the pair of Charlies that I've been chatting to throughout the course of this podcast. But I do get to talk to some incredible people. And Charlie, your career is just that. It's incredible. So congratulations on what is still a fantastic career. Good luck with, I would say your horses, but now I've got to say your daughter's pony in the upcoming Horse of the Year shows and what have you. Best of luck at the weekend with the matches coming up. And Chaz, as always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you as my Studs Up strike partner. Have you enjoyed it, mate?
Do you know what, mate? Loved it. Eased into it. Last week, bit nervous. This one kept.
You were, weren't you?
Last week,
Why?
yeah, I was a bit nervous. Don't know.
Because of Super.
Out of me. No, I was out of my comfort zone, wasn't I? On
He texted me straight afterwards. He goes, first 5-10 minutes, I was so nervous. I thought that was very sweet because I didn't think a Hollywood actor as successful as you would get nervous.
Why are you showing off? Why are you showing off? No need for that. But I was nervous, mate. Nervous. But now I'm into it.
Exactly.
I've got you know what the good all the time.
The good news is that there are lots of you out there that seemingly are into it as well, because I have to say the reaction to episode 1 was incredible, and loads of you clearly have told people about it. You've liked, you've subscribed, you've downloaded it on your podcast platforms, and please continue to do so because we, as you can see, absolutely love doing it. We love speaking to people like Charlie. So thank you for listening to another edition of Studs Up, brought to you by Oddschecker and Skybet, and we will be back same time, same place next week for more of the same. We'll see you then.